This is a unique podcast exploring the criminal justice system and those involved and affected. We'll educate and expose the public as well as potential jurors to what takes place behind the scenes of those who are facing the system. Your host owns a litigation support firm called Justice Technology Professionals, and he works on criminal and civil cases offering support to defendants and counsel. What you're about to hear is an open dialogue, opening the minds to the public to what takes place in reality as opposed to what you think takes place. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Justice Tech Pros podcast. Here's your host, Dominic Crea.
Greetings, listeners. Hope everybody's getting ready for a enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. I'm doing a little bit of an impromptu, it's not even a podcast, it's a few comments I want to make. So it's going to be short and to the point. I normally don't do this, but I decided to do it. I figured, why not? Now, I'm the type of person, when I see certain things that, I don't agree with, I'll look to address it. Or if I feel something is indirectly maybe related to myself or to my family or whatnot, I'm going to address it when I can. Unfortunately, sometimes I have to pick and choose my battles because I know things would get twisted, so I can't directly address certain things that normally I would. I would love to directly address certain things that go on in this whole podcast realm, and individuals who have related podcasts that kind of tie into people that I defend and clients I have, because I'm that type. I'd like to be the voice. I never mind confrontation. I like to address things head on. I feel I have the ability to talk to whomever wants to talk to me on whatever level they want to talk at. So I like to do that. But like I said, I have to pick and choose my battles, because when you're in business and you're doing things a certain way, and also if you're defending individuals, things can get twisted. They'll try to make them bigger than they are, and they'll try to change intentions. So I have to be mindful of that. But one thing I wanted to address was, we have different supporters. I have. There's no we. As far as this podcast goes, it's only me. There's no big production team. I'm not trying to impress people talking about production studios. And I got software that I know how to use, that I taught myself how to use. A microphone I bought on Amazon. I got a pop filter because I noticed that was trial and error. When I would talk, it would crack my P's. Maybe that's because of my accent. I don't know. And I have my computer. That's it. That's all I got. And I'm not looking to build a studio and asking for donations so I could do this and do that. What I do here, like I said, I don't even know how long it's going to last. I'm trying to do something in tandem with my business, because a lot could be done with this platform. There's a lot of ideas I have for defendants where we could get them some form of an outlet, just so people could hear what's going on with different stories. So that leads me to what I wanted to address. Is I have different people. I've been on different shows. I was on the Frank Milano show years ago. I was getting word. I never listened to it, but there was the show Ruckus Radio, and they were reading a lot of stories that involved my father's case, and they were actually favorable, which was a shock, because it was always negative. Everybody likes to do negative. Whenever they hear Italians and Rico, it's always negative. So with that said, I remember, I don't know verbatim because it happened a few years ago, but I know I reached out to Rich to thank him, and we built a relationship based on that. He's always done right by me. So I see a lot of comments where people will be like, they'll make comments about the show's content, that Ruckus Radio's content, and the people, and Rich is just reading stories. Now, I'm not on here to defend anybody. I'm not on here to defend Rich. You don't need me for that. My way of looking at this thing is very simplistic. So people try to get into, well, whatever the habits are. I know they talk about marijuana and whatnot. That's not my thing personally. It's just not. But I don't get involved so deep with individuals where I'm judging personal habits and whatever that may be. To each his own. I look at things very simplistically. This individual was supporting my cause, supporting something that did deserve attention, that did deserve somebody speaking about it, and nobody was talking about it. And he was. And I respected that, and I continue to respect that, and I support that. Now, I don't know really what goes on the show. I don't know anything about marijuana. Again, it's not my thing. Just never was. I'm not bashing it. I'm not bashing people into it. I don't care. I don't make alignments with people or form relationships on that level where it's supporting one another based on what they do in their personal life. It's not my business. B, it's not important to me. I come together with individuals based on a common cause. So if we have a synergy based on a common cause, and we have the same belief system based on goals and what should be spoken about, that's something to come together on. That's something you could help each other on, talk about. So when I see all this nonsense, and again, it's all like these like competing podcasts and in the forums and in the groups, and my problem is that I look at these things, and a lot of people send them to me because I'm not a member in a lot of these groups, so I just don't see it. But I do make record of it because who knows, maybe it could help a defendant one day what's being said. But when they're sent to me, I laugh because you see these almost like backhanded comments about the content of these podcasts, and I couldn't care. My point of view on this is very simplistic. Anybody who wants to help my cause, help what my firm's doing, help my family, help, getting the word out, I appreciate that. It's very simple. That's all I could say is I appreciate it. I appreciate the exposure. I appreciate letting your listeners know. I appreciate people talking about it. And as I always say, I'm not here to convince anybody, have anybody agree with my way of viewing things, agree with my cause. There's a lot of people who don't, and that's fine. But having it talked about is a good thing. Some people are unaware. So you want to make all different audience members aware of these things. And, I stay away from there's different podcasts that are infatuated with the whole mob theme and everything's mob and mob history and this and that. And I get it. That's a venue. That's something people are interested in. It's not my thing. That's not what I'm about. I'm on here to talk about what my firm does, cases we're working on. And my main goal, actually, is just to educate the public a bit, because that's the problem I see with different cases. I see an uneducated jury and individual jurors that don't know what they're doing. They don't know what goes on. They believe everything that the prosecution and the state is telling them, and the government, and they think that if you're indicted, you're guilty. So that's what I try to shine the light on. And maybe I change some views, maybe I don't. Maybe I have some people who have an aha moment, as I spoke about, where they'll say, I didn't know that. That's good to know. I wasn't aware of that. That's good to be aware of. That's all I'm trying to do. I don't monetize anything. I don't make any money on this. It costs me money. I have a budget actually built in for myself for the podcast. I just built in a budget to try to grow it, to try to get attention to it, strictly to educate people, nothing else. So whoever supports me for that, I thank them. Whoever tries to help my cause and bring attention to it, I thank them. Rich has really been one of the only ones in the podcast arena who's done that. And then Lisa Babick, who's an investigative journalist, who reached out to me a while ago. We actually communicated, and she put together that book, Guilt for the Guiltless, which was phenomenal. Just to get the word out on that kind of platform is unbelievable. You have an ebook, you have an audio book, and it just tells the story of what takes place, and it's the facts. And it has citations, it has transcripts, and now she started a website called defendantdigest.com. And it's a phenomenal project. again, she's using her investigative journalist skills to write about cases that may have prosecutorial misconduct, acts of injustice, everything that kind of is around that arena that I enjoy talking about. So anything like that, I'm all for. I'm supportive of. And I spoke about this in the past. People tried, I think one of these informants actually said, and I mocked it. I made fun of it because it's such a moronic statement. Tried saying that this Lisa Babick was an associate. It was complete moronic behavior. It is just somebody who's out of their mind. But that's what you're dealing with. I mean, a lot of these lying informants, that's what you're dealing with. 90% of them, there's always some kind of agenda. They think they're, cracking codes, Da Vinci codes. They think they're always unraveling some kind of big conspiracy. And it's just idiotic. Again, it's very simplistic. Anybody who supports my cause, tries to help what I'm trying to do, tries to help defendants that I'm working with, tries to help my father in any way, shape, or form, to just bring to light what goes on, what is going on, what happened in his case, I'm all for that. I don't care about the nonsense, about the... I think the big thing that they were saying about Rich, what Ruckus, had to do with him reading stories, which, who cares? He's reading stories. I never heard him once say he was the guy who wrote the stories. He gives everybody credit. I wouldn't mind somebody reading my stuff and getting it out there. I don't know what the big deal is about that. But again, I don't have that mentality. So I just wanted to make that this simple, just make this announcement in the sense that anybody who's here to support my cause, support who I'm trying to help, support what I'm doing, I'm all for it. And vice versa. If I could help in any way, I'm going to do the same thing. That's who I am. If somebody's helping me, and I'll gladly help them. I've been that way my whole life. And I don't get into the ins and outs and the backstories. I don't run skip tracing on people to see who's doing what. Unless I know somebody's saying out and out. Here's a perfect example. Say an informant contacted me to help me promote my show. What do you think I'm going to say to that? No, not going to happen. Okay? There's, it's a very clear line. I don't know why people are trying to blur it. I don't care about content. I don't care about what people are talking about on their show. That's their show. I hope they do very well with it. God bless them. I hope it, they make money off it. If that's what they're doing for a living, God bless them. Don't care. But there's people who support me that I'll deal with. And there's people that I won't. There's been plenty of emails that I got that I don't deal with certain things. Even cases I turn down because I won't deal with certain topics. It's just how I am. And I just wanted to kind of set that record straight on those items because I keep seeing that. And here's the other thing. I'm not like a roundabout type individual. All social media, I'll get it, even if my assistant fields it or my employee fields the remarks or the DMs. I'll get it. I'm very hands-on. So people know how to contact me. They can message me. They can tag me. If there's something you want to ask or say or insinuate, tag me. I'll be glad to address it head on. Unfortunately, as I said, I can't address certain things I would like to, and certain individuals on these airwaves that are putting out a lot of nonsense because I know how things will get turned around. So I'm not gonna go down that route. But if I'm going to be tagged and I'm going to be addressed, I'll definitely respond. I have no problem about that. And I don't use fake profiles. I don't do that. You search me, you'll find me. You search my company, you search Dominic Crea, Justice Tech Pros, you'll find everything you need to know. My office number, my office address. So, whatever I have to say, I'll say on any venue available. So the moral of this is, I want to thank those who help the exact same goal that I'm trying to achieve. Working on a case now, working on my father's case, trying to get things done. We're moving along. So those who want to report on it, those who want to talk about things that hit Pacer and things that are coming out, I appreciate it. If it's positive, I appreciate it. And yeah, if it's positive, I appreciate it. That's right. If it's negative, I'm not obviously going to appreciate it. I'm tied to these things. I'm vested in these things. So anybody positive who's looking to talk about it and promote it, I thank you for that. I thank Rich for that from Ruckus. I thank Lisa, who's been phenomenal as far as exposing things, putting all that effort into an ebook. I mean, who does that? Not many people take interest. Once they hear you're Italian and you're charged with RICO, nobody wants to be bothered. And you need to have nerve to go forward with that. Because I'm going to be honest with you. I reached out to a lot of organizations to help to understand the unjust actions that were going on, the misconduct that was taking place. Nobody wanted to hear it. As soon as they hear Italians and RICO, they don't want to touch it. Which, to me, and I spoke about that, I don't know how that's fair on any level. If you're supposedly for justice, what does it matter what the charges are when it comes to that? What does it matter what the labels are? It goes tell me you're fully you-know-what when you cry out how you're all for justice and equality. Just not true, but whatever. So I give Lisa credit, a lot of credit. I know she goes through a lot of adversity over it. She gets a lot of pushback, and I don't know. I find that amusing too. You get these fanboys in all these forums and all this nonsense where these guys, grown men, are just in these forums talking about other people's lives because they're fascinated with it because they don't live their own life. And then if a positive story is put out, they look to attack whoever it is. So I know that Lisa went through a lot of attacks, but all I can say is, when you have the nerve to do that, that really says something. When you have the nerve to go against the grain, that really stands out. So again, I can't say it enough. It's appreciated. Without all these things in play, without the book, without the audio book, the podcast, without Rich talking about it, there really wouldn't be anybody talking about it. Nobody would know about it. It'd be another case of wrongful conviction that was swept under the rug, and nobody's aware of it, and nobody cares. At least now people are caring, and I know people are caring because people call me about it. I get emails about it where they heard it. They may have heard it on Rich's show on Ruckus Radio. They read it on Lisa's website. These people are supporting the cause. They're supporting what I'm doing. They're supporting a wrong that is trying to be made a right. And that's all it's about. We agree on the same ideology that everybody should get a fair trial. So whoever's for that, I appreciate that. And I'm going to support. And I make it known who I support and who I don't support. It's as easy as that. And as I always say, I'm not here to please anybody. I'm not here to have anybody agree with me. I'm very secure in my beliefs and how I do things and how I operate. I don't need affirmation. I don't delete negative comments if I get any. I don't care. I'll go right back at with you. I don't need a team getting rid of negative comments because it derails me because I'm so sensitive I can't read negative comments. You want to be negative, be negative. Just be ready for my retort. That's all. Just be ready for a rebuttal from me. I don't sit silent and just allow comments to flow. I'm going to address it. And I don't care if you agree with me, don't agree with me, whatever, but that's just how I operate. I'll take the good, the bad. This ain't all about just blowing smoke up what I do here. I'm sure a lot of people don't like what I do. A lot of people don't agree with it. Now ask me if I care. I couldn't care in the least. I do what I do because I know it's what I believe is right. And it's what I want to get out there. And I said this at the beginning. Maybe it's more to vent. Because when you're working on these different cases and you're seeing things take place, you get aggravated. And being silent about it is not my demeanor. I'll say it on here. I'll say it to somebody's face. I'll say it on the board. Wherever I am that I'm aware of it, I'm going to say something about it. And that's just the way I operate. I don't need approval. I don't need affirmation. I don't need pats on my back. I am very grateful. Don't misunderstand me. I'm very grateful for those who like the channel. We're at like over 18,000 subscribers. I never even imagined that. honestly, last year when I started this, never even imagined that. In my head, I was like, if I get like 200-300, I'll be happy. That's 200-300 more people that are hearing things that they probably haven't heard before. So I'm beyond grateful for that, and I appreciate that. And I'm just hoping, if they stay and subscribe, that means maybe they enjoy it. Although, who knows? I know you get a lot of people who just got to watch everything you do. They don't like what you do, but yet they watch everything you do, which is funny to me too. Unfortunately, I have to watch a lot of this nonsense out there, because when you're part of a defense team, you have to watch everything. I mean, a good defense team. That's another story. I see a lot of defense teams. They shouldn't be doing they don't do anything. They talk a good game. They tell the client they're doing all these things, but then when you talk to them one-on-one, you could see they have no idea what you're talking about. So I may just do a show just to all defendants out there to tell them what they need to start asking their lawyers to see if they know what they're talking about. Because I see too many defendants getting the wool pulled over their eyes, and that's really frustrating. People are fighting for their lives, and these lawyers are just, some lawyers, not all, trust me. I know a lot of good lawyers, several that are very good people, ethical people, hardworking people. They really care about the client. And that's the key. That's one thing I learned. When you get an attorney, I have a lot of people email me and call me for recommendations of attorneys. Unfortunately, I don't have that many, because if I'm going to give you somebody, it's somebody that I believe in. But that's the key. It really is. You got to have a team that cares. They really care about what they're doing. And they're going to fight, because that's all you could ask. You can't guarantee a win, but as long as they're fighting and their heart's in it and their mind's in it, that's all you could really ask. But some of these guys, they don't care. And I honestly believe it's time for that to end. People got to start calling that out, because individuals' lives are on the line, and you can't have a team. I dealt with a few, one in particular, which I would love to go off on, but I'd rather I'd rather not. But where I've seen firsthand the BS that comes out of their mouth, how they paint a good picture, but they have no idea what they're talking about. They have no intentions of fighting hard. They have no intentions of trying to win. It's about taking your money, getting you on retainer, and that's it. But I will say this, a lot on social media, I see a lot of up-and-coming lawyers, a lot of the young guys, young girls in the game, or young ladies, I should say, really impressive. You see a lot of them, they're really trying to do the right thing. I don't know them personally, I'm just impressed by what I see. I'm impressed at what they put out there, and you could tell they do care and they have a passion. And that's what people have to look for. They have to look for the passion. So that's it for today. Not really any kind of specific content. I just wanted to address nonsense. And I'll probably call the show Nonsense, just to let people say, tune in and say, what the hell is he talking about? Nonsense. So that's really it. I hope everybody enjoys the weekend. And until next time. Oh, and actually, before I forget, there's another individual. I notice he shares the show a lot. He tries to, get the word out there on what I'm doing, and he goes by Shattered, I believe his name is. And I understand, I think there's like maybe bad blood between, between Ruckus and Shattered. Again, I don't care. It's not my business. I treat people how they treat me. And all I know is the guy Shattered actually reached out to me a few times, asked if he could share the show on his channel that he's doing. Ruckus asked to talk about things, talk about stories. Anybody who could bring attention to it, and the more people that listen to it, God bless. I mean, that's what it's about. It's about getting more exposure. For me, it's not about making money. It's not about monetizing anything. It's just about getting exposure, trying to get the word out there, getting more people to listen. So I appreciate what the guy Shattered does. Anytime he shares it. I know he also has a YouTube channel. He shares the show. He puts it out there. So I appreciate anybody who's helping the show, helping my cause. I'm appreciative for. I'm not getting into who don't like who this one's doing that. This isn't my world. This is a little segment of what I do. This is a side project. I'm not getting into that kind of back and forth dramatics of it all. I'm just here to support whoever supports me, supports my cause, supports things that I'm working on, and it's appreciative. So whatever they do on their own time, whatever they do in their private life, it's not my business. I don't care. Whatever conflict they got going on amongst themselves, I don't care. That's between them. Nothing to do with me. I appreciate everybody. It's really as simple as that. You couldn't get any more simplistic than that. Those who support the show, those who help the show, I appreciate it. I'm not doing background checks and finding out who's supporting it, what they do. It's a podcast. I'm not curing cancer here. I'm not doing anything groundbreaking. This is just me talking about some common sense things, giving the public an inside look about what goes on, trying to bring attention to unjust things that take place and the reality of the justice system of what takes place from personal experience, from working on it. I could cite things. I could tell you this isn't just from thin air. I'm not just hypothesizing about what's going on. This is factual of experience. Again, people may not agree with my point of view on certain things, but some things are just factual. You can't deny facts. Facts aren't up for opinion. I make my opinion clear, and then I make the facts clear, so you can't argue facts. Although some people do that, especially nowadays. I see that goes on a lot. People argue fact a lot, which is always amusing in and of itself. So that's it. So again, that was the whole purpose of this impromptu show. I wanted to almost clear the air, set the record straight on a few things, let people know where I stand, let people know my objectives, where the show stands. And until I get bored and I don't feel like doing this no more, this is what I'm going to keep doing. And that's it. Enjoy the weekend. Until next time.
You've been listening to the Justice Tech Pros podcast with Dominic Crea, one of the most unique podcasts on the internet, discussing the obstacles the defense team faces when trying a case, what goes on behind the scenes during pretrial and motion phase, holding defense attorneys accountable, making sure they're fighting for their clients, the difference between textbook law and how things truly play out in a courtroom, and everything in between. We hope you've gotten some useful and practical information from this show, and we'll be back soon. Until then, find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Justice Tech Pros. To email the show with questions and comments, it's podcast@justicetechpros.com. Till next time, this is Justice Tech Pros Podcast and Dominic Crea signing off.